What's up, guys? All right. Sorry it took me so long to make this video, but I don't know. I don't like standing in front of camera. So I'm going to stand back here. So we're going to learn how to read a schematic for a starter circuit. Now, this is a very basic starter circuit, so don't come at me in the comments. This is basic of the basic. Like if you had like an old Chevy or an old Ford, something like that. Okay? All right. So here we have the starter. I hope you can see my little pointer finger. There it is right there. All right, so the one side of the starter on the hot is going to come off the starter and go directly to the battery side. That is your constant high amperage feed. So this symbol right here, as we've learned in previous videos, is what the symbol is for a battery. These represents the cells. This sign right here represents a ground. So this is your relay. You're going to have your constant voltage in, which is usually, I think, pin 30. 85 is usually a ground. 86 is going to go to your switched, which is usually your ignition. And then you're going to have a signal wire on your starter that is connected to, I think, pin 87 on the relay. I could be wrong. So when you hit this key and you turn it to start your car, it puts voltage on here, excites the relay, and then giggity, and then puts constant voltage from 30 on to 87, which then will crank the starter. So now we're going to learn what happens when something goes wrong with it and how you can figure out if it's the starter or not. Sorry it's so fast, but these videos are only so long, so I have to do it quick. Okay, so how do you know if it's the starter or if it's the relay, and how do you know if you have a bad starter or not? Well, first of all, we could take the relay out, switch it with another relay. If it starts up, then you're good. You know it was a bad relay. If it does not start, then you can put a jumper between 30 and 87. That will make the starter turn even if the ignition is not turned. Okay, so let's say you put a jumper on between 87 and 30 and the starter does not crank, or all you hear is a click, click, click. Okay, what do you do in that case? Well, first, you're going to check the voltage on the battery or charge your battery. Make sure that that is good. Then what you're going to do is, if you are sure that your battery voltage is good and you still get that click when you do the jumper, then more than likely, 9 times out of 10, you have a bad starter. Because if you didn't get the click, that would mean that something is wrong with this signal wire between the relay and the starter. But since you're getting the click, you know that's not the truth. Also, check your grounds. If you have an F-150, they have a bolt underneath by the engine that bolts the starter to the engine or to the transmission that has the ground on that stud. That's the older F-150s. You could put a logic tester on there or a test light and just make sure that you have ground on your starter, a good ground. If it does not do anything when you have the jumper here, check your voltage on pin 86. Have someone crank the key, put a test light or a logic tester. If you have 12 volts here, then you know the ignition is good. That is not the problem. Make sure you have a ground on 85. If you have a ground on 85 and crank the key and that voltage does not change, then the ground is good. And then more than likely, this wire right here is probably broken if the starter is not clicking. I hope that helps, and I hope you can apply this knowledge to newer cars, which you can, except there is an ASD relay in there. You can check that relay the same way with a logic tester and a test light. If you have any questions, comment in the comments, and please like, share, and follow. It helps me out a lot, and maybe we can do some of this stuff in real life. I can show you that in real life. And yeah, I hope you're all safe, and wrench safe.